NZ Aerosports, Icarus Canopies, now Gyro. That's right, we've rebranded, and Gyro is our next generation. It honours our founder, as that's the name we knew him by, but Gyro also marks the start of a new chapter. And not to be biased, but it's going to be fucking epic. Long story short, we're more us than ever, so if you're new to the sport, or even a Sky God Ninja Turtle, welcome. I think our valiant leader Lucy, Gyro's daughter, says it best.
And we still got that fuck yeah attitude. Rebrand! Woo!
Rebrand woo indeed, Lucy. Anyway, head over to gyro.com for more info and get amongst your legends.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus Canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. All right, back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, and as is my new habit, no preamble, just straight into it. Who the fuck are you? What do you do?
My name is Espen Fadnes. I'm 41 years old now, living in Norway. That's also where I was born and raised. And I grew up with a lot of climbing and skiing and surfing and the use of steep mountains back home, and started skydiving when I was 20. And it became a life.
You kind of went to town with that, didn't you? Well, like a lot of people that are listening, I've been watching all the stuff that you've been putting out for quite some time now. I mean, your name is synonymous with pretty fucking sick wingsuit stuff. That bright red wingsuit doing just incredible stuff, and really cutting edge stuff that kind of definitely makes the average skydiver like me nervous as hell. So I always enjoy talking to the people that are out there really sending it, and you are one I've been after for a while. So thanks for taking the time to sit down and talk.
Thank you for letting me come and join the talk.
Yeah, man. So let's jump all the way to the beginning. You're born and raised in Norway, which obviously is some pretty spectacular country. So I'm assuming you were into what the rest of the world would consider extreme type sports pretty early.
Yeah, I come from a very sporty place in Norway. It's a small town. It's called Molde, where it's kind of like a place where either you do sports or you might as well just get out of there. Like it's just not a place for people that don't want to be outdoors or do, football or climbing or skiing or anything like that. And then it's just nothing for you there.
Sure.
But I grew up with a dad that was a very passionate climber. And he brought me up climbing from a very young age. Like I was 5 years old when he brought me rope climbing for the first time. And
wow.
It became a thing where we went out climbing, and I started competing in climbing. And
wow.
At the same time, also part of the skiing club, doing alpine racing, and that was combined with also hiking in big mountains and the big mountain skiing. So I grew up with what I would say a high acceptance of taking risk for fun. It was totally acceptable from my parents' side, from my friends' side, from the community, society. It was like growing up in a place where it's totally okay for 2 10-year-olds to take your skis and hike a huge mountain and just descend it. Like
Sure.
Nobody would really stop you. So it came there, but the weird thing about it was almost like I was climbing too much, or I was skiing too much. It was like this was what I was brought up in, and I couldn't really picture anything else. But while I was young, I could see these amazing articles in newspapers of people base jumping the troll wall, which is this huge vertical wall that I can see the top of the troll wall from my house.
Wow.
And so I was reading about this, and I was actually climbing and being in those mountains from a very, very young age. And so I saw that wall, and I saw where they jumped from, and it just started more and more to sparkle this idea of, man, like it's really cool to climb or hike a mountain and then take the shortcut down with
Sure.
skis, but how would it be in free fall? And then when I was, it took some time.
Sure.
I had to go to the mandatory military in Norway, and there were some other things that I had to kind of tick off. And then when I was 20, I was ready and signed up for a static line course in the local little club, a couple hours north of where I grew up,
and that was the beginning. Well, so that's the thing, right? So when you start that young doing things that most people, especially nowadays, find terrifying, did that give you an easier time dealing with the fear and the hesitation involved in skydiving? Or was it just the same for you as it is for everybody else? Were you shitting yourself?
It was the same, man. Like it's, I was seriously scared.
Wow.
Like I don't even remember my first skydive. Like
Wow.
but I do remember I was hanging in a canopy, and so this is a static line, right?
Sure.
So you just kind of like I was just hanging from the attachment below the wing and
Sure.
let go, and all of a sudden I was hanging in a canopy. I looked around and I was like, oh my god, I just did a skydive, and But I think partially it is because everything I used to do or still do that I grew up with, I was always pretty good at it. I mean, it's not that I was like this star or anything, but it was something me and all the people around were pretty tuned in on, whether it was, using the winter or summer up in the mountains. And then in the second I was there in that airplane, I had no clue what I was doing. And that feeling of all that uncertainty and the lack of control was almost a bit overwhelming.
Sure.
But I was quite motivated, to put it like that. Nothing was really going to stop me. I was willing to risk a lot to make this work. So I didn't really question anything that happened on the first jump. It was just all about getting up there as soon as possible and just jump and do more and more and more.
Sure. Well, it seems to be, I know a number of climbers that have become very active base jumpers, a guy by the name of Nick Martinez and somebody I'm sure you know, Ivo Ninov, who are, Ivo's.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, dude, he's a maniac. I fucking love that guy. But again, same thing. Hardcore climbers that wanted to find the easy way down instead of having to walk down the back of the mountain. It seems to be this really cool draw. So did you find the transition from skydiving to base jumping once you were jumping? Was it that was the super easy transition, or?
Yeah, I actually have to say that the beginning with taking the skydive course was quite hard, and It was a challenging time of just learning a lot of things that I had no clue about. But the transition to base jumping was actually pretty smooth. It was it was a bit like I was back where I was meant to be. No framework, no rules. It's just like you're just out there in nature, and you just have to deal with whatever weather and winds and rock features you're facing. And I really liked it. I liked it from the first base jump, and I knew, especially I think after I've done about 10 base jumps, I knew that I would never quit doing this. It was this clear feeling in my body that this is the most amazing raw nature experience you can ever have. And to take those skills that I've learned in skydiving and actually see that they could be applied into it, and it can also be combined with what I knew from before, from climbing and skiing, and then the upbringing. It was like everything came together.
Now, did you? Were you one of these ones that took skydiving quite seriously until you had it kind of dialed in before you took it to base jumping, or were you one of these that went, okay, I landed a parachute, let's go up on the mountain?
Okay, well, I think I had 65, 70 skydives when I did my first base jump. So yeah, that's a horrendously low number. But I have to say though that I never quit skydiving. I kept on skydiving, and the first couple of jumps I did it from an antenna, which of course it would be better if I had a couple of hundred skydives, but then again, downwind off an antenna with a big field to land on, you can't really do much wrong. But when it comes to mountains and big wall jumping, for sure those numbers are way too low, and I'm lucky to be alive today, to put it like that. I did a series of stupid mistakes. Had a hard time realizing that I did mistakes because I had such a lack of experience from skydiving. And funny thing, so I was having this base course here in Lund where I live, where we had this big group, about 10 people that were here to learn more about wingsuiting. And then in the evening we were watching really old school movies, like base movies and skydive movies. And then we were watching one video of base jumping from 2002-3 in Norway. Actually, It was 2001, 2002. And at the end of the video, one of the guys was like, that guy in a green canopy, is he still alive? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And they just couldn't believe their eyes that they were watching me like this safety wear, kind of like, semi old school dude that I've been doing this for a long time, and they were expecting all the smart advices and all that, and they were watching my start, and they were watching the most gnarly, hopeless base jumping they could think of. And they were like, what are you doing?
Right. Well, that's where the wisdom came from, though, right? Because you survived it. I mean, you did all the stupid shit and got lucky, which is another thing, actually, I wanted to ask. I find that there's two schools of thought with base jumpers. Either there's the ones that don't believe in luck or the ones that do believe in luck. Which one are you?
Well, I believe in luck because I don't know a single base jumper that have not had luck.
Yeah.
I mean, people that are alive today. We talk about this a lot, and we all have our fair share of stupid moments or moments of bad decisions, and they often happen, especially in the first 3, 4, 5 years of base jumping. Base jumping is like simple and complex. It is in many ways quite simple to jump off a mountain, fly straight forward, and open your canopy, which is a big ass canopy, and just land it. But it's super complicated because every jump is unique. You never really know about the wind conditions, the weather conditions. It's like everything varies, and the next layer of that is also we don't have any rules. There is no framework. And we can just imagine how skydiving would be if there were no rules. Like if everybody could just pull as low as they wanted to, or send it out with base gear, or not plan anything or jump in any kind of conditions. It would be a carnage globally. Carnage. It's horrible. And it's just at one point. But that's what we deal with in base jumping, and it actually creates a very complex environment, especially in the beginning, because you can do anything.
Well, I mean, the community itself seems very complex as well, because you guys, I mean, it's almost, it goes against the grain, the whole idea of policing anything, self-policing, because that sport is all about the ultimate freedom. But you guys are also seeing people that are exercising that freedom in the stupidest of ways, and I'm sure you've seen more than your fair share of bad things happen. And for those of us that don't base jump but have lots of friends in the community, we see that as well. And it's you guys must be walking a really tough balancing act between wanting to be able to tell this guy, dude, you can't do what you're about to do, you're gonna fucking die, and actually letting somebody, do what they want to do.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing with how do you express your concern, or how do you help people, or be a good friend in many ways. It's weird, because to be a truly caring, good base jumping friend is often to give people a bit of the tough feedback. It's about them that they shouldn't jump, they're not ready, they should practice more in skydiving, or they should maybe reconsider their gear, and or just that you're on the exit point and it's really windy, and some
Sure.
people want to go and some people don't, and those situations. And it's hard because we all really thrive for that freedom. We all want to have, we it's almost like we all just want to get as far away from skydiving as possible for a little time,
Right,
a little
right.
break.
Right.
But then that's only fun if it goes okay. It's absolutely horrible when people die.
Sure.
And not only is it horrible for them, their family, and all that, but it's also, we can't have that, or we should really work towards not having it.
Sure.
And that's where that feedback comes in.
Sure.
Like, how do you say that? And I'm often trying to think in guidelines. I don't, the word rules, you can't really use that in base jumping, or I don't think it's a good idea. But
Right.
guidelines is more the desired or preferred direction you want to go in, or the advice place to open your canopy, or the advice place to land. Like, you can land anywhere else, you can pull in any kind of altitude you want to, but the guideline or the advice is to rather be a bit higher.
Well, you tell me if I'm. No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like if we all kind of like is on this like vibe or his role of guiding people in the right way, it seems to educate us. It actually seems to work.
Sure. Well, you're now part of, I guess you'd say the older generation of base jumpers. You're kind of passing the torch on to a lot of the young guys that are coming along, right? But when you started, there wasn't this kind of mentor possibility or this mentor feeling, because there were no mentors. They were, this was all trailblazing stuff. But now you guys who have been doing this for quite some time, I would think that the younger jumpers coming on, like if I wanted to start base jumping, the last thing in the world I would want to do would be to upset or freak out somebody that I looked up to and respected. So I'd imagine that kind of has to go a long way in that community, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it really depends on the person, and we have some. We really do have some great mentors in our community. Chris Dukes McDougall might be the kind of number one mentor. He's been there for 25, 30 years, and he's funny, cool, party harder than everyone else. But then he's also very safety aware. It's very rare to see Dukes take unnecessary risk. And on the other hand, you have more people like me, which is I've always liked to push it, like push further, more, faster, cooler, better, like more fun. And that pushy style of jumping is in some ways making me less of a good mentor, because when the new kids on the block is looking at what I do, or they want to join in, it's like the only way I can try and mentor them is like, okay, listen to my story, because I'm lucky to be alive, so just don't do like me. And then I just need to kind of like try to tell them a bad story about myself, which is true.
Right.
And then hopefully they will listen and think, okay, so maybe that's not the right way then.
So now what's one of these stories that you would tell somebody? So I'm going to go out and base jumping and you think I'm going to do something stupid. What's a story you're going to tell me to keep myself from being too much of an idiot?
Oh,
That many.
I have so many stories of. I often say that my ego has always tried to kill me, and it's kind of hard to admit, but it's a reality of life.
Sure.
Every time I've been injured, it's my ego that just told me to ski too hard or base jump too hard or something like that.
Sure.
One of the weirdest and stupidest stories of my life would be in 2001 when I decided that I really wanted to trek out a place called Karlskrotin. And this is trekking with no trek pants or anything. It's just like hiking pants and a hoodie.
Sure.
And it's I think it was like 5-6 other people that have ever trekked it out, and they were all pretty dialed in, solid, experienced skydivers and base jumpers, and I was not. It was very early on in my jumping, and I was standing up there, and ironically, the guy I was skiing with today, we were standing up there together, but there was a lot of other people there as well. And he screamed to me like, "I want to see how many front flips you can do." And I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna track." He's like, "Nah, you loser, come on, front flips." And I was like, no, I'm gonna track it out. And he was like, "No, you're not gonna do that." And then I just told him, "Well, if I don't track it out, I'm done. I'm dead." And then I just jumped out. And I had a bit of a shitty start on the track, which is like at that point you should definitely pull. Like
Right.
if you can't get your track getting started in Karlsruhe with just normal pants, you should give up. But I didn't. And then it started to kick in, and I was like, all right, I can do this. And then you come into the no pull zone. I mean, this is basically proxy flying in hiking pants.
Jesus Christ.
And, so I was finding myself in this no pull zone for I think about 9-10 seconds, and at the very end of that talus there is this like steeper part with some slopey rock features where you get a little bit of altitude so you can open your canopy. And I was so stoked at the end of the flight that I just lost my track. I was like, yeah, I'm making it, and then I stopped tracking all of a sudden. So I was like basically falling over the last part of that slab with pretty much no altitude up my canopy, and landed. And all those experienced skydivers and base jumpers over there, they were just like, what the hell was that? That is the most yellow card of all times. And yeah, those stories just kept on coming and coming. And of course, like looking back at it in retrospect, I was lucky to be alive after that one. And but I've done it in more like later on when I was in Bangkok doing the Perfect Flight series, and of course, stupid me wanted to do a front riser hook turn on my base canopy into that street in Bangkok, and I was so slippery on my hands, I just couldn't hold on. I didn't have handles on the front, so I had to hold on to them without, and then they just slipped out of my hands, and I smashed into the building on like second, third floor into a light pole and fell to the ground. Again, you know, ego trying to kill me because I could just cruise down on toggles. It was a great jump. Jesus, it was amazing. This beautiful two-way off the highest building in Bangkok, and then of course I had to do this stupid end move, and
Well, so I mean, have you gotten to the point now in your jumping where before you're going out on a project like this, you're kind of trying to keep your ego in check, or is that ego still putting you in corners?
I would love to say yes.
Well, I mean, that being said, before the podcast, I was going to say before the podcast, I wanted to ask you about the jump I just watched you do through a fucking snowstorm. So
yeah, we can go to that one.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to completely change your personality to something you dream of, right?
Sure.
It's you are who you are, and then you can of course read books and learn and listen to a lot of smart people, and hopefully you also mature a bit. And well, I have matured for sure. One of the things that I really see now compared to when I was in my 20s is that I really don't want to get injured. I've been injured couple of times, and actually my girlfriend got badly injured last year, broke her back and femur on a skydive, and it's like to see those processes when you get injured and the time it takes to come back, and also how badly it can affect you for the rest of your life.
Sure.
Like, I really love skydiving and base jumping, and I want to do it until I die of age. And if I am to do that, I just need to be a bit safer in how I approach things.
Sure.
And,
Well,
like my ego is smaller, but my awareness of safety is bigger, I think.
Which is awesome. I mean, the injury stuff, I think is obviously it should be a huge fear, because the injury and the pain that you end up having to deal with and recovering. And I know a little bit about your girlfriend's accident and recovery and stuff. I had seen posts of her recovery, which is fucking epic. She was kicking ass. In fact, I think I saw a picture of her getting ready to do a base jump, her first base jump back, and being super stoked. And to have to push that hard for what she was rehabbing for over a year, yeah?
Yeah, it was 1 full year of rehab, and that includes 6 months on morphine.
Oof.
And that's like, she's not the kind of person that would just hang out on morphine.
Sure.
That's because of pain. And one thing is the physical part of it. Another thing is the mental part. Like, how do you really get back from something like that and manage to relax and be a good resource in your own community?
Right.
She's actually, today, she was doing a canopy course with Pete Allen. And that's one of many efforts that she have to regain mental and physical strength and the ability to not end up in such a situation again.
Sure.
Because we can't do that many times in our skydiving career.
Well, and I mean, skydiving is one thing, and for me, flying is one thing. But with base jumping, you guys can't be unsure of yourselves, not with the type of jumping that you're doing. So how do you get back to that mental state where you're able to stand at this launch point confident that you can do what you're about to try and pull off? I mean, to get back to there must be monumental.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a journey. And I think, and this is something that I've gotten very aware of the last 5-6 years. It's the value of flying a lot, and that to fly tunnel, vertical tunnel, or in that new wingsuit tunnel, skydive a lot, and get coaching and evolve is helping a lot. Like, because base jumping in the wingsuit is, at least when you start getting really good at it, the mountain itself is almost like a launch point into what you already know.
Sure.
So even though you've been away from base jumping for a long time, if you are super current in your wingsuit and you've done a lot of skydiving and you really dialed in on everything you do, when at least in terminal speed, you're much more able to break down everything and see things more clear, and then kind of create something that potentially is insane into something more sane.
Sure. Well, now, you've been in it a long time now, so I'm guessing you've seen a whole lot of changes, but how much has the progression of the gear, especially wingsuits, added to shit that you would have once thought impossible that now is almost, every day?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a good question. You know that when I got into the sport and I put on a wingsuit, I think that was in 2001. So at that point, the wingsuit had been on the market for a few years, and things evolved pretty fast. Ever since then, I've been listening to people saying, now we have reached, a stop. Now we reached a level. Like, we're not going to move forward from here. This is pretty much like a new level, and we're going to stay here. But it's just been wrong every time, and it actually seems to be accelerating. And the change of wingsuits from when I started to now is massive. It's such a huge difference. And I think it's gone through this like phases where around 2010-11 the truly big suits came. And that was a big game changer in like how much vertical altitude we needed to have to be able to start flying from exit points. That was a massive change. Where before that, we usually looked at, like, yeah, we need about 250 meters at least of vertical drop, and then the big suits started really coming, and that dropped to like 150, 160, and then up to today where people are. I jumped this place here last summer, and after 100 meters vertical, you need to be 30 meters horizontal, and that's not like compared to a lot of the exits that have been open in Colorado and some of the places in the States, for example. That's not even pushing it, and combined with that, it's also a lot of knowledge of the importance of winds, for example. How much better you actually take off if you have anabatic winds, like updraft coming, up on exit point, and that leads to, the choices of when do you really want to jump in the day, when is that updraft at its best, and how is that compared to the more laminar winds, like the larger conditions in the area, and all that has really changed. And when it comes to wingsuits, there was also another thing that happened, and that was in 2016, because that was the first. It wasn't the first year, but it was the second year of Red Bull Aces, and a lot of the manufacturers started pushing really hard to get a suit that could win that race, and especially Squirrel put huge resources into developing a race suit. It would be interesting to hear their story of how hard they worked to take something to the next level. Yeah. So they created the Squirrel series, and now today, 4 years later, a lot of other brands have also been, catching up on that. But what happened in 2016 was the creation of and like this fine-tuned race suit that had the ability to flare. Like flare might be a weird word to use for you as a pilot, but gain rate. It was
Sure.
the suit had an ability to fly up again, and because it had such an agile performance in it, it just created this fighter plane to fly, and that turned the whole sport, where it was skydiving or base jumping in the wingsuit, turned it much more dynamic. Everything just went from completely static to really go in all kinds of directions, and since then, interestingly, the whole pace of the sport and how we fly has just increased massively.
Well, from a spectator's perspective, watching it as an outsider and seeing, when the videos first started hitting YouTube and stuff of terrain flying, it was, you knew what to expect. Somebody was either going to just be slowly carving around the terrain, or they were going to be down dirty, making you shit yourself. But they all looked similar. And then all of a sudden came this really dynamic stuff going on, including what you called the flare. I remember the first time I saw the video of somebody flaring in a wingsuit and realizing that they were going fucking up and then almost hitting a 0G point, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then that to now what you see with them making skydives where they're basically free flying better in a wingsuit than I can without one. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's been a really cool evolution to be part of. And when I was, I think this was around 2014, 15, I was in a way, I felt like I was repeating myself. And I think a lot of people around me, I know I talked a lot to Yuki Sommer about this, where we both felt that we were just doing the same thing over and over again, taking lots of risk, flying these semi-static lines really close to terrain. And in that period, a lot of people that were more pure base jumpers and pure wingsuiters started flying, free flying, and maybe not at least people started flying tunnel, a lot of vertical tunnel. Personally, I became a tunnel instructor, and I was just working a lot in the tunnel environment, and learned so much about how do you fly a body that I had no clue how to do. It was weird how little I knew after 15 years in sport. And at the same time, you had a lot of free flyers that took their free fly skills into wingsuits. So there was a lot of the high-end free flyers that like Noah Benson or Michael Couch, or you can name many names here, but a lot of people came more from free flying and into the wingsuit environment, and it just revolutionized the way we were thinking, because we all realized that it's the same thing. It's actually the same thing. Like there is no real difference between moving your body in a wingsuit and moving your body without. It's all about belly flying and back flying on different angles, and pick up the speed, slow down the speed, use it, fly relative to each other, understanding the environment, the more three-dimensional environment. It's been such a cool ride to be part of the last 5-6 years, and I would say that the last couple of years I've learned more than I did the first 15. It's just
just
game changer.
Watching the crazy progression again as an outsider has been a blast, and I had the chance to sit and talk to Nick Scalabrino and Matt Munting, both of whom hardcore free flying in these wingsuits, and Nick, coming from a big time free flying background, was the one that was saying that for body awareness there was nothing better than transitioning from being able to free fly as well as he could into wingsuits, because you need that body awareness and that understanding. And he's like, it was, absolutely incredible. And then to watch what you guys have been able to do with it is just insane.
Yeah, 100%. And Matt and Nick, they're really interesting because they both have the extremely high free fly skills from developed internal flying. So they are on such a high level that nothing is really holding them back in a wingsuit. But to get to the level that they have in free flying, you need years and years and years. It's like a full-on commitment in a discipline over a long time. And personally, I put in hundreds of hours in the tunnel and done a lot of free flying, but I'm not even remotely near their level in free flying. And it's quite interesting because when I'm trying to learn new things in the wingsuit in more like a free fly way, it's like the mistakes I do in free flying become bigger mistakes in a wingsuit. So if I have some kind of,
I would imagine.
Yeah. So if I have some kind of issue in the way I do, a layout or something, a snake or like small things, you get punished really hard for it in a wingsuit. And that is interesting because it tells the story of how difficult it is to fly clean, dynamically, and advanced in a wingsuit. It's actually really difficult. It's fascinating how hard it is.
Sure. Well, and with the progression that, you were kind of lucky enough to be in it from the time when wingsuits didn't have nearly the amount of power that they do now. But I can't imagine if someone were to do with a wingsuit the same thing that a lot of skydivers do with canopies, which is downsize too fast or get to high performance too quickly. You can absolutely do the same thing in a wingsuit. And I've seen on my descent in the airplane, wingsuiters getting their asses handed to them by their own suits. That's got to be pretty intense to be trying to puzzle out what the fuck your suit is doing to you in free fall so that you can make it stop.
Yeah, that it's almost like we are being bitten a bit in our tails by the most modern wingsuits because they are very pressurized and quite agile in its behavior. So the suits that they're so big that they basically cover your whole body and are agile. They're a bit of like beasts. You don't joke with them.
Sure.
They need to be treated with respect, and to get like a bad flat spin in one of the bigger suits is a really bad situation to be in. You really don't want to experience it. You just don't want to get there. And the trick is to use small suits a lot, but maybe not just small suits, but actually take the time to get good at belly flying, free flying, all the and build up all the foundations and get good at it, and spend time in skydiving, truly enjoy those disciplines, because the more you're into angle flying and free flying and belly flying, all that, you get this awareness of how your body behaves in air and level, like something as simple and hard as level. is something that is crucial when you start going dynamically in a wingsuit. It's just nothing is really working if you don't understand the environment you're going to put yourself in. And the combination of not fully understanding what you're putting yourself in and this beast of an agile big ass suit is it's not a good direction to go in.
Yeah. Now, was that the drive that pushed you into wanting to become a tunnel instructor? Was being able to just kind of be a more well-rounded jumper all the way?
Yeah, 100%. I was, again, I was in a way repeating myself quite a lot in proximity flying, and I did see way too many people die, and it was a bit of this unhealthy environment. It was almost like you got weirdly cynical, but also the motivation was starting to fall apart. It was like, what is going on now? I think it was 2000. I don't remember, but we had like 30, 40 people dying every year, and we're a small community, so it started to turn pretty ridiculous. So I think it was almost like a bit of this mental treatment in a way to go into something completely different, which is tunnel flying, and be there in this controlled environment where you get dressed off completely, right? You whatever you nail, but whatever you don't know, you have no clue about, and you just need to seek help and guidance and get good coaching and work minute by minute to increase those skills. And I had a clear desire to evolve and get better, and I was very inspired by especially Noah Benson and Annie Farrington and Mike Swanson and those guys. They really showed the way in what was possible if you put together many different disciplines and you had this like big broad understanding of how to actually fly together. And it's probably the best decision I've done in my life was to go to the tunnel and start flying there. I wasn't alone about taking that decision. It was many base jumpers that did, and in some ways, I think it's made us a bit safer. We now today, it's almost like when we go base jumping, it's not about flying as close as we can to terrain. It's more about a line we want to fly, where we want to put in some more dynamic and fun things that we have practiced a lot in skydiving, and then it makes more sense to stay a little bit further away, because then you get a little bit more of that mental capacity in the moment, and you rather use that capacity to be very accurate and run the base jumps like you would if you have a larger formation skydiving and everything needs to be dialed in on the ground. Walk the jumps, practice them, and then go up and do them. And a lot of us been able to put that into base jumping, and it's a good feeling of mastery when you have a fairly advanced plan, which is also very detailed, where you want to exit in a very specific way where everybody's timed perfectly on exit, and you want to fly exactly that specific line, do those specific moves, and then you want to open your canopy in 1,000 feet exactly in the exact perfect opening area with separation and everything, and then land smoothly. Like when you do all those things and you nail it, it's a healthy but also a super cool way of base jumping.
Oh, it's got to be. Now, with stuff like that, I mean, I've seen some of these videos now, and especially because of the suits, you guys are able to do these ridiculously long runs, and flying through terrain that to the naked eye looks like it would be impossible to navigate. How are you guys mapping these out? I mean, I know you're trying to find exit points that allow for the vertical drop until you can start flying, but are you using computer mapping and stuff like that to be able to find these amazing routes, or are you finding them in the air, or how's that work?
I think it differs from place to place, but for sure I use a lot of maps here in Norway and the Alps and the States. And most places in the world now, you have really good topographic information that you can use to analyze, for example, the steepness of a slope, or the features, and how big they are, or they identify critical points where it's crucial to have certain speed or height when you pass them. And then but maps is just one of many tools. And I think maybe especially in the Alps, the European Alps, you have enormous mountains to climb, and the altitude difference can be up to more than 10,000 feet. In those mountains, it can be quite complicated, especially if you haven't flown them before. It's such a long ride. Like if you're flying 5-6 kilometers, and it's almost hard to remember what your plan was in free fall. But in Norway, we normally don't have more than about 5,000 feet, and the teachers and how the mountains look like here make you able to pretty much see everything in the combination of seeing it from below and then from above. And then if you combine those two things with some proper studies of maps, you normally have a pretty good idea of what you want to do. And then in videos, it often looks like we're flying horrendously flat, but we're really not. It's kind of like the camera angle lies, because most of the lines that we do here in Norway and actually in the Alps as well, they're often as steep as 2-to-1, so 2 meters forward, and for every meter you fall down. And in a wingsuit, in a modern wingsuit, that's really steep terrain. You're easily like good pilot is easily able to make 3-to-1 glide edge show. So when you fly on terrain like that, you can in any moment you can just flatten out and gain a lot of altitude relative to the terrain.
Sure, and get away from it. Yeah. Now, speaking of terrain and different jumps and stuff, tell me about the snow jump. I got to hear about this, because I watched that video and I went, "Are you fucking kidding me?" They're in the snow. Come on.
So I live in a place, Loen in Norway, and got a cable car here. It's a cable car bringing you from the fjord and up to the top of a mountain at about 3,000 feet. And well, it's just outside my window here. I live there, and I jump it a lot, like hundreds of times, and I'm very used to it and quite comfortable with it. Now, the beauty of the cable car is you're basically indoor all day. You're just outside for a few minutes flying, and then you're just back indoor again in this warm, comfortable restaurant environment. So it's a very odd way of base jumping. And there are two things we need for a base jump here. I'd say it's you need visibility and you need decent wind conditions. And you can totally have a lot of snow and still have good visibility. That's no problem.
Sure.
And on top of that, we've been starting jumping a lot where the cameraman is wearing a very powerful headlamp. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like it's winter time here now, so it's quite dark, and so it's kind of like expand the hours, early in the morning and late in the evening. You can keep on jumping when it starts to get a bit dark, and then the headlamp is actually mostly for filming, just to kind of like have this like constant flash almost filming the object.
Sure.
The first point. And but on that video, it's actually the headlamp that is visualizing the snow. It's like because of that headlamp, you can see snow everywhere. But I have to say that jumping in snow is the most fun thing you can do. It's like going straight into Star Trek. It's full on warp speed. It's the weirdest thing, like, because you never see snow. Like, okay, I mean, you never see snow moving that fast. You kind of do if you drive a car in snowy conditions. You have that same warp feeling. But the thing is, like, when base jump, we got more than 200 kilometers per hour. So it's ridiculous how fast snow is coming towards you. And it's like, you just watch, it's like you're going through the universe. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, watching that video was insane, and I was trying to picture what it must have been like from your guys' perspective, because the camera is kind of looking sideways, so you see the snow coming past at a different angle, but of course you're looking straight ahead, and I was trying to wrap my head around that, and because I know what it's like flying a plane through a rainstorm, and you kind of get a similar effect, but I couldn't imagine. And you guys are just going balls out, but it makes it even more entertaining that you hop off of a cable car and then bomb down the mountain, do that jump, and then you're back in a nice warm room. That's crazy.
Yeah. We've actually been talking a lot about doing this much more. So because the snow conditions on that video was very light snow. I wouldn't call that heavy snow. And so we really want to do it on like the perfect day when it's like you can still see the ground, you can still see the line, but it's like solid amounts of snow in there. And I think that could be an amazing experience. You
You'd come down
must
looking,
be
your leading edges would all be covered in snow and ice.
full icing. Yeah. It's gonna be full icing.
That's wild. Now, so here's a random airplane question for you. How much are you going to be affected flight characteristic wise if you're picking up a bunch of ice and snow on the leading edges of that suit? Because it's going to fuck with the airflow.
Well, I guess we'll see. No,
That's what.
I think, yeah, we actually talked about this because I've had that experience in skydiving where I was, after separation, we flew in clouds, and it was a really cold springtime in Voss in Norway, and it was like the whole leading edge was stiff of ice. It was weird. It
Sure.
wasn't unsafe, but it was definitely this like weird feeling of wow, I'm just covered in ice here. But
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think that
Go ahead.
the advantage that we have is that we have soft wings. So
Yeah.
it can be, it can end up with a lot of snow on the leading edge, but you can always just kind of shake it off in free fall. You out there and shake it off, and then and it's totally fine.
It's funny because I've never made a base jump. I've not even done a wingsuit jump, and they're both very appealing to talk about, and the idea of them is very appealing to me, but I'd never fucking do it. It's just that's that bridge too far for me. But I'm so intrigued by what goes into it, and I understand the principles behind it, and I really, really appreciate the aesthetics of it and what you guys have done over the years. There's just I'd never be able to do it. So I love being able to talk to people that are doing this shit because I get to live vicariously through you guys. So, what do you have any big projects that are coming up next? Anything that you've been wanting to try that haven't been able to yet?
Yeah, there is one, and it's been in the talking for a long time, and it's to skydiving in Northern Lights.
And that would be absolutely epic.
Yeah, it's been this thing. We've been talking about it, and we were meant to do it last year, and then we didn't get the conditions. And the thing with it is it's really challenging logistically. So it's just a skydive. Okay, it's a nighttime skydive, or at least in the almost dark time, and that adds on a little bit. And of course, it's winter time, so it could potentially be -30, -25. It can be really cold, but that you can deal with that. It's all about being well prepared equipment-wise. But the challenge is to actually manage to be in a helicopter or airplane, jumping out when it happens with the camera gear that works and that everything is set up correctly. Because the Northern Light is often it appears. And then it's there for just like, it can be half an hour, it can be an hour, but it's not lasting for a long time. And it's really hard to predict and know exactly when it's happening. They do have some forecasting on it, but you need to be basically standby through the winter. And you need to have all the logistics prepared, everything ready. And then in the second you see, whoa, it's happening, then you go. And then when that forecast for Northern Lights is happening, you also need blue sky, or open clear sky. You need the right to the wind conditions, and so it's a really tricky project, but we hope to do it this year. We really hope, and we have pretty much everything ready, so that would be a dream.
I mean, that's pretty wild. What are you on standby for? The Northern Lights.
Yeah.
We're waiting for this shit to kick off so we can go. I mean, when you got started in all this stuff, did any of the stuff that you're doing these days ever cross your mind as possible when you just got started in skydiving? Because you're doing stuff that people pull up on, on whatever, Facebook or on YouTube, and they're watching these videos just blown away. But this is stuff that you do all the time now. But I mean, do you ever just look around and go, I don't believe this shit?
I couldn't imagine the efficiency of the wingsuits and the way we fly today. I could not imagine that in the beginning. But I came from skiing and a lot of big mountain skiing, and back then in 2000 skiing, it was I was part of a larger crew that was doing a lot of filming. We were doing ski movies and we were competing. In that community, it's all about the line you ski. It's about seeing a mountain, plan the most beautiful line, and then ski it. Sometimes it tricks and moves in it, or it can be like super high speed or big cliffs to drop off. But it was all about thinking, how do I shape my piece of art down this big mountain? And that mentality of creating a line, I really kind of brought that with me into the way I was thinking around base jumping. And I've always been like dreaming and picturing ever since the beginning of what kind of lines can we do? Like, how can we solve this piece of puzzle of a mountain? Like, how can we fly down? How can we add on cool moves together? And how can we create a piece of art, like a beautiful video that is screening, showing, showcasing something that I find it absolutely incredible to base jump. It's the coolest thing I can think of.
Well, I mean, again, being able to sit back and watch it all, I'm in awe on a very regular basis. And one of the coolest things about being able to watch all of this stuff and technology being what it is and giving us access to watch you guys do this, it's also the fact that a lot of the people that I watch doing these things are friends of mine that you get to sit back and it gives you as a spectator almost a sense of ownership in what's going on, because you get to go, I know that fucking guy. Look at him go. And it's so you're super proud of your friend's accomplishments. So it's always amazing when you see this next level, because you're thinking, oh God, what are they going to do next? And it's a little bit of nervousness too, because obviously it's a dangerous progression. But I think I'm finally kind of seeing the change in not seeing as much terrain stuff going on. Kind of has people like me taking a deep breath and going, okay, I feel a little bit better now, you know.
But it's
nice being.
It is a dangerous game, and it's always going to be. And I catch myself several times, in regular life where I'm thinking, oof, I get this like feeling inside myself. It's kind of semi-uncomfortable feeling of all the risk that me and my girlfriend and all my friends are putting us in. And the only solution I have for that feeling, or that I have for us and myself, is to be very motivated and jump a lot and be particular and fly tunnel and skydive and like just be super current and be totally dialed in with what we do. It seems to be the only good solution. So it's like fight the fear by doing it a lot, or fight the uncertainty, finding answers, and just keep on moving forward. And those moments when people are actually like moving the sport forward, it can be Matt and Nick doing flips next to each other in free fall off a mountain in Dubai, or it can be anything. Like those moments, they don't come easily. It's like it's now today with the level we have, people are putting in so much work before those moments comes, and I have massive respect every time I see something like that happens, because I know how hard I worked to get there, and when they do something like that, they actually they bring something new into the sport, and then that is going to drag the rest of us with them. So they just like inspire the whole community, and all like, whoa, boom, and there we go. And
well, I mean, that seems to be the biggest thing too, is right, all you guys have this incredible passion for what you do, so when you see someone doing something new, that's just something new for you to push for and be even more passionate about. And it's great because it's just this circle of you guys driving each other along, which is fantastic.
I love it. Yeah.
So love it. Now, do you offer, I know you're a wind tunnel instructor, do you offer base courses, wingsuit courses, stuff like that?
Yeah, it's been a bit on and off. I'm mostly coaching skydiving. That's just turned into the thing I enjoy the most, is to do one-on-one and group coaching in skydiving. I've done some wingsuit-based courses here in Lund, and we were meant to do it last year, but Corona. So not a lot happened in 2020, but I'm open for especially one-on-one coaching in Lund and in the surroundings here. We're helping mentoring people getting better in wings with base jumping especially. And I do quite a lot of coaching in the wingsuit tunnel in Sweden, and that's heaps of
Awesome.
fun. That's a fun place to be. And general
be.
guiding as well, like just help people to find the right exits and analyze their skill sets and experience, and give good advices and join people to beautiful exit points that fits their level. That's
awesome. Now, how do people find you on social media? How do they find you if they want to get some of that coaching? How do they track you down?
The best way to track me down is either through my Facebook, which is in my name, Espen Fadnes, or on Instagram. That's my name straightforward as well, Espen Fadnes. And
and just direct message you there and say, hey, I want to learn how to do some of this shit.
Absolutely. And then
awesome.
We can talk, and then we can go and skydive and have fun together.
Awesome. Espen, man, I tell you what, I can't thank you enough for taking time. I know you were just in the mountains and came back just to do this with me, so I really, really appreciate you taking the time, man. It was fucking awesome talking to you.
What a great hour. It was fun. It's not often that I bring back all those old memories, and thank you so much for great questions and a good time.
No, thanks for sharing them, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon. See ya.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Damn.